just waiting for our attorney to.
Come on, Dave. Yeah, I know. What there things. Come on, Dave. Hurry up.
They're waiting for our attorney. Billy can start now. Evening, I'd like to call the redevelopment commission meeting to order for Wednesday, July 13th. The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mrs. Malinowski.
Mr. Conley,
Present.
Mr. Tippy,
Here.
Mr. Troxel,
Here.
Mr. Schmidt,
Here.
Mr. Getzlaw,
Present.
Attorney Austin,
Present.
Chief Kuzan,
Here.
Deputy Chief Patterson,
Present.
Chief Dowling,
Here.
Deputy Chief Zagraki,
Here.
Mr. Mandan,
Here.
our engineer, Mr. Hewitt,
Here.
Mr. Volkman,
Here.
Robin Teal, Janice Malinowski present.
Okay, thank you, James.
You're welcome.
Minutes of the June 8, 2016 and June 22nd, 2016 public meeting. Pleasure of the board.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Any additional claims, Mrs. Malinowski?
No additional claims.
Pleasure of the board.
Mr. President, move to accept claims as presented.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Correspondence and reports from staff members?
No correspondence or reports.
Any from council members? None. There is no old business. Under new business, we'll consider approval of the change order number 1 from Gavin Plumbing and Heating Incorporated for the Briar Ridge Storm Sewer Repair Project, decrease of $203,368.10. Mr. Volkman?
Now, this is the closeout of the Briar Ridge Storm Sewer Project. It was a very great cooperative effort between the towns of Munster, Schererville, Dyer, and the Little Tiger River Basin Commission. And actually came in under the budget by $203,368.10.
Pleasure of the board.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Consider a final payment request from Gavin Plumbing and Heating Incorporated for the Briar Ridge Storm Sewer Repair Project, $74,200. Mr. Volkman?
This is the final claim. This includes all the retention for the project, one small change order.
Pleasure of the board.
Move to accept as presented, Mr. President.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Any business from the floor regarding redevelopment? Any business from the floor regarding redevelopment? Any business from the floor regarding redevelopment? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. We will move on to the water board.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Waterworks Board meeting for Wednesday, July 13th. The roll call will show that Mr. Conley and Mr. Troxel is not a member of the Waterworks Board. First Agenda items, the minutes of the June 8th public meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries 3-0. Claims, any additional claims, Mrs. Malinowski?
No additional claims.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on claims. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. Any correspondence or reports, Mr. Volkman or Mr. Hewitt, on waterworks?
No correspondence or reports.
There's no old business, no new business. At this time, we'll open business from the floor regarding waterworks. Any business from the floor regarding waterworks? No business from the floor. This meeting is adjourned. We'll move into the utility board meeting. I'd like to call the utility board meeting for Wednesday, July 13th. On the roll call, we'll add Mr. Conley and Mr. Troxel back to the roll call. First item on the agenda is the minutes of the June 8th public meeting.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Any additional claims, Mrs. Malinowski?
No additional claims.
Motion to approve claims.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on claims. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Any correspondence or reports, Mr. Volkman, on utilities?
No correspondence or reports.
There's no old business. The new business, item A is Resolution 2016-11 is a resolution to transfer funds within a category of appropriations. Mrs. Malinowski.
This is in our wastewater O&M fund, and it's a total transfer of $14,000 from various levels of appropriations.
Motion to approve resolution 2016-11.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 5-0. Item B is resolution 2016-14, which is a resolution of the utility board of the town of Schererville, Lake County, Indiana, recommending approval of the proposed release of a public utility easement located at 9201 Calhoun Place and all matters related thereto. Mr. Volkman.
This was a request by this property owner to release a utility easement. This is lot 94 in Spring Rose Heat subdivision, unit 5. Behind the property, there's a big wetland. This runs perpendicular to the street property line on this particular lot. It was a 15-foot utility easement. We have nothing located in it, and I reviewed it with Jeff. We see no reason that we would ever use that because the only place you could go is to the back of this one lot. It's right at the end of the subdivision. And so all of the other utilities have already released it, and this is for the house that they were going to build on it. It was actually, they needed the easement in order to place their house on it. So it was a request from that property owner.
So, Mr. Volkman, so we are releasing it to the homeowner?
We're releasing our easement rights on this particular parcel. We have nothing in the easement and have no reason to hold that easement.
Mr. Austin, did you have a comment?
With the town approval of recommendation for the waiver and release, all the other utilities have checked off, and this is in Lake County jurisdiction. There'll be an amended plat or a wrongful plat action down in Lake County, but this was necessary for that to occur.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2016-14. Second.
We have a motion and a second on resolution 2016-14. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. At this time, I'll open up to the floor. Any business from the floor regarding utilities? Any business from the floor regarding utilities? No business from the floor. This meeting is adjourned. We'll move right into the town council.
We call the town council meeting for Wednesday, July 13, 2016 at 7:17 p.m. Let the record reflect the roll call is the same as the utility board. Next item is minutes from the June 8, 2016 and June 22nd, 2016 public meetings. Pleasure of the council members.
So moved.
Second. Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Any additional claims, Ms. Malinowski?
Mr. President, there are no additional claims.
Pleasure of claims by council members.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on claims? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carries 5-0. Correspondence? Mr. Vogt, any correspondence at this time? Reports from staff? Mr. Hewitt, anything to report?
No report.
Mr. Madden, anything to report? Chief Cruzan?
Nothing to report.
Chief Dowling?
No report.
Okay, good. Council members?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I would just at this time like to thank the fire chief and the police chief and Mr. Hewitt, Mr. Novosich, for participating in the kitty parade there in Schererville Forest and making the park look nice and coming out with the trucks and everything pretty good. So thank you very much.
The other council members, any reports or anything at this time? Having seen none, moving on to public comments regarding agenda items. At this time, if there's an agenda item you'd like to make a comment about, now's the time to come up to the podium. Any public comments on agenda items? Seeing and hearing none, we'll move to the next item, the public hearing. Mr. Rosh, this public hearing and proof of publication has been properly noticed.
The proofs are in evidence on the publication. It's been made 2 times of each publication required. Public hearing may properly be conducted.
As our attorney has mentioned, there's a public hearing regarding ordinance number 1885, an ordinance reestablishing and continuing a cumulative capital development fund, otherwise considered CCBF, for the town of Schererville, Lake County, Indiana, and automatic related to. Ms. Malinowski, would you like to make a comment on this?
This is to reestablish the rate on the QCAP Development Fund. Right now, it's a little over 4.8 cents per $100 of assessed valuation, and there's a procedure to follow to increase it to 5 cents per $100 of assessed valuation. It's called reestablishing this fund.
What is the current rate right now?
A little over 4.8 cents.
Okay, so we're going,
And we're allowed to go up to 5 cents, which enables about, I believe, around $31,000 if we were to get the full 5 cents per $100 of AV.
very good. Pleasure of council, anything from the public would like to comment on this item? Anything from the public? Seeing and hearing none, the public session is closed to the floor. Pleasure of council members on ordinance number 1885.
Motion to approve ordinance 1885.
Been a motion?
Second.
And a second, any discussion on the motion? Hearing,
Mr. President, if I could just add, this fund is the fund that we go to every few years for our our Hoosier Equipment Lease Purchase Agreement, and it is used to fund our vehicles and our equipment throughout the town.
very good, thank you for your
You're
explanation.
welcome.
There's a motion and a second, any additional discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Motion.
to adopt.
Second.
Second. There's a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Old business, ordinance number 1883, to ordinance annexing certain contiguous lands to the town of Schererville, Lake County, Indiana, now matter related thereto, second reading. Petitioners Robert Volkman, town of Schererville, locations 5603 Highway 330. We heard this at the last meeting in June. Mr. Volkman?
This is that small wedge property at the intersection of Burr and 73rd.
Very good. Pleasure of the council on ordinance number 1883.
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to approve in a second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carries 5-0.
Motion to adopt 1883.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next item, new business. Ordinance number 1886 is an ordinance establishing the town of Schererville Community Events Special Non-Recurring Fund and all matters related thereto. Mr. Wolford, Ms. Malinowski. Either one.
Per our State Board of Accounts, Mr. Todd Caldwell, he's the Director of Audit Services. He said a separate fund needs to be established for this account regarding donations, revenues, transfers from seated permitted by Indiana Code 6-3.5-7-12.7, which basically means this fund is being created for any type of community events. The town of Schererville has 150th anniversary. We will be allowed to transfer funds into there from our seated funding with the hope, and I do believe, that we will get revenues into this separate fund as we promote transparency and accountability with this fund being established.
Very good. So if I understand correctly, this fund is being established to help not only the 150th anniversary event that we've had this year, but any future events that the town may have. We can use this fund to, as a non-revenue fund.
A non-recurring revenue fund, kind of like a wash account, the money comes in, the money goes out. And yes, you are correct, Mr. President, for all future events.
Yes, Councilman.
You'll note in the ordinance also that all such events will be designated as such by the town council, and fund expenditures approved and/or disapproved by the town council. So everything comes back here in relationship to those funds and how they're spent, or where they're spent.
Very good. Thank you for that.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Austin, does that mean that the money stays in that non-recurring community fund? Never can be transferred out of there for any other reason?
No, it can be transferred at your direction up here also, but it is non-reverting in the context of annually, it's not turned over in terms of budget. It sits in that fund pending the anticipation that you will have ongoing events that you'll designate.
If I may, it makes it very clear, concise, and transparent.
Very good. We have good explanation on this ordinance that's before us. Pleasure of the council on ordinance number 1886.
Move to approve ordinance number 18.
Thanks.
I'm not going to talk anymore.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt in a second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Good to see our generator, backup generator is working. That's what it was.
Yeah, I'm assuming the generator came in, either that or, there was a lightning strike that took it out.
Any emergency procedures you need to be aware of at this point? Chief?
We're watching the radar as we speak here.
Yeah, I'm watching the radar.
Pretty strong cell, gonna pass us very soon here. So it's over dire right now.
Okay.
I would recommend that if we do have a problem, Mr. President, that we would probably head towards the bathroom area of the building or the basement.
For the basement.
We can certainly go down to the basement if need be. So we'll keep an eye on it here and advise you.
All right, thank you. Next item, under new business, we have ordinance number, resolution 2016-12, a resolution to transfer funds within the category appropriations. Ms. Malinowski?
Yes, I'd like to explain this. This has an MDH transfer from a 400 to 300 level of $30,000. But our cable TV fund, part of that is used for promotion, and promotion is designated throughout the town for different events. And what we're doing here is we're transferring $50,000 up to the 100 level, and then that funding tomorrow will be transferred out of cable TV into the promotion fund. And the same explanation that we just went through for the seated fund, we will be transferring $50,000 from miscellaneous services 317 to the 100 level transfer of funds. So you see it's going to a different level, so we can transfer it out over into our new fund, which is the community event fund that we had just passed.
Thank you for your explanation. With
You're
that, is there a motion for 2016-12 to move forward?
Motion to approve.
A motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item C is resolution 2016-13, a resolution establishing a system of internal control for the town of Schererville, Lake County, Indiana, consistent with current applicable law to promote government accountability and transparency and automatically thereto. Mr. Volkman or Janice, would you like to?
Janice is
Yes, this is being mandated by the State Board of Accounts, and we had to start somewhere, so we're starting with this resolution. And inside the resolution is contained 5 components of internal control and 17 principles that each and every one of us, starting with the town council, board, and president, down to all the employees, will have a certain form of acknowledgement and education going forward. But it is mandated, starting with the ordinance and then education. The basis of this, just the basis, needs to be done by December 31st, or we will not be allowed to adopt the budget next year. So it's mandated.
Very good. Pleasure of the council on resolution. Yes.
One additional thing, and it bears highlighting. Section 3 of the ordinance places oversight of this mandatory compliance requirement in your clerk treasurer, first of all. Secondly, it mandates the compliance by all elected and appointed officials, and those staff members deemed appropriate by the clerk treasurer to undertake and have training for the compliance items related to this. So you're saying that to yourself as you consider this ordinance.
Everybody is
Everybody
trained, right, understanding the,
will be trained accordingly.
good, excellent. Thank you. Pleasure of the council on 2016-13, excuse me.
So moved.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is resolution 2016-15, a resolution making preliminary determination to issue sewage works revenue bonds to the town of Schererville, County. I'm ready there too. Mr. Volkman?
I think this is the incorrect resolution here. I think this was the sample sent out. This for $10 million, I thought we were 7.5. Okay?
This is, Bob, it references a not to exceed number,
Oh, okay, I'm with you.
and I have the clean documents with me.
Oh, you already had it, I think there was one that was sent over.
He did, that was a specimen for all the cleanups that were needed.
So this is in regards to the wastewater treatment plant clarifier projects
Sure.
that we're in design on now. The anticipated cost of the projects, clarifier 8 and 9, is $7.5 million, and of which St. John is participating in that project twofold way. One is they're increasing their plant capacity to 30% plant capacity, and in addition, they have to buy that additional 10% capacity. So this is to issue bonds, to start the bonding process to issue bonds not to exceed $10 million.
Very good. Thank you. Pleasure of the council members on resolution 2016-15.
So moved.
Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is item E, acceptance of agreement between the town of Schererville and H.J. Umbach Associates to provide a fire territory financial analysis. Mr. Boatman, again, I'll turn to you for briefing.
The communities of Schererville, St. John, and Cedar Lake, along with St. John Township and Hanover Township, have been meeting once a month to discuss the formulation of a fire territory to serve those areas. And part of that was a presentation by Paige from UMBA and an engagement by that group to ask Paige to do the financial analysis for the group of how a fire territory be formed and how it will be financed. The cost of this study is $25,000, of which it is being split by the entities by their assessed valuation. So Schererville being the fiduciary agent for this agreement, the agreement is with Schererville, is for the $25,000. We will be billing the other entities pro rata share on the cost sharing of the study.
And then, Mr. Volk, I see that the pro rata share is based on the certified fire AV. Correct. Each of the participating government entities, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Volkman, and who and when was it decided that Schererville would be the one that's in control of it?
As a group, they just did, because I was pretty much the one that contacted Paige, and so I had been in discussions with her all along, so as a group, they just basically agreed. And I think Cedar Lake has already adopted this. I think it's up for adoption in St. John. I'm not sure about the townships boards, but the townships are the smallest portion of this study. And so we agreed at the last meeting that Schererville would take the lead, because Umba and Associates they're only going to contract, they're not going to try to contract with 5 different agencies, just with one, and then they leave it up to us to collect it.
And just to be clear, as a fiduciary, that doesn't mean that we're the fire department taking charge.
That's correct.
This only has to do with the financial end of it. The chiefs are working together, putting together their own plan regarding operations and capital expenditures and budgets and all of that. This is strictly expenses going toward the exploration of fire territory.
Councilman Tippie is absolutely correct. This has nothing to do with the fire territory, because we haven't formed a fire territory. This is just to study the issue.
Very good. Pleasure of the council members on the acceptance of this agreement between the town sheriff and HJ on Bob.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Discussion. And as you're right, Mr. Volkman, basically just a study. This is a study to see if we can worth our participation to join fire territory.
Nobody's committed to anything
Right.
other than a
Right.
study.
But we don't know until we have the numbers ahead of us to make a decision. That being said, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain, Mr. Chairman. I haven't been able to attend any of the meetings, so I will abstain on it.
There's been 4 and 1 abstention regarding passing this item. Motion passes 4-0-1. Next item, item F, consider allocating a not to exceed amount of $100,000 in seeded funds for the town of Schererville 150th anniversary celebration held on Friday, September 9th and Saturday, September 10th, 2016 at Reeder Park. Explanation, Mr. Bolter, Ms. Malinowski?
I'll explain.
Okay.
Basically, from the meeting we had with the committee, the 150 kind of steering committee, was that we needed to allocate funding source for putting on the 150 event. You know, we're in the process now of obtaining sponsorships for that event. We don't anticipate, we set a budget of $100,000 for the event. What we're doing here is basically saying that we're appropriating a maximum of $100,000 from seeded to fund that event. None of us anticipate we'll need that much funding. We hopefully the project will, or the whole event will break even at the most, but we may have some funding that we put in there long term. But this is the kind of the ceiling. This is our budget, $100,000. So we're looking for approval from you to approve up to $100,000 in spending for the 150th celebration.
Very good. Is there a motion to move forward with
So moved.
discussion?
Second.
Second. As Tom Manager mentioned, this is basically seed money for this, I guess, worst case scenario, if we don't bring in one sponsorship, or if the event is a flop, then it's $100,000 we put towards this. But as you
It helps the
mentioned,
cash flow.
cash, yeah. But it is looking at, sponsorship letters are out there to get sponsorship for this, so I think it's a good number to use at this point, so.
Mr. Chairman, a comment, Mr. Volkman, and that's coming, when you say city funds, that's coming out of the economic development.
That comes from the economic development funds, yes.
So the promotion of the 150th anniversary would be an item in the economic development.
Correct.
Ms. Malinowski, is this an item that's allowable to use from seeded?
Yes, I did get written permission from our state board, Mr. Caldwell, between yesterday and today in my correspondence with him that this is appropriate.
Good, thank you. There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item, consider acceptance of artist's performance contract between Lawrence Corky Lane Productions LLC and the town of Schererville for band perform at the 150th anniversary celebration on September 10th, 2016. Mr. Volkman, I'm assuming this is obviously in relationship with what we just did towards,
That's correct. This is to book the entertainment for the 150 celebration.
and just have we reviewed this contract, an attorney reviewed it, I think it was okay.
Yes, I have not. It's a pretty standard form entertainment contract. It's a pretty simple venue. I'm sure Dave will, it doesn't have much in the way of terms in it. It's for $30,000 for the entertainers, and it does require a deposit to secure their contractor if they're attending the event. It spells out the things, you have to provide things like dressing rooms and PAs, the music system, form, stage, transportation, housing. It spells out kind of their
It basically says, we're going to perform on this date at these times in this place, and when we do that, you're gonna pay us this, and you're gonna provide this, this, and this. So it's
One page.
really straightforward. I think it's two-sided.
Yeah, that's it, okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Maybe Mr. Tipping knows the answer to this. What is the background of this group?
These are bands, they're national bands out of New York. They're not signed yet, so I don't know if we should actually publicly announce who they are. I would leave that up to our consulting people. Sometimes the bands prefer not to be announced until they know they're under contract.
And Mr. Volkman, where will this take place?
Reader Park.
Pleasure of the council.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, any additional discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item, item H, in relationship to what we're discussing, consider pay request for $15,000 of down payment for the Lawrence Perky Lane Productions LLC. Obviously, this is a down
This
payment
is the
towards.
same thing. This is part of that contract.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, all motion carries 5-0. Next item, item I, review request from Senator Rick Niemeyer regarding motor vehicle inspections and maintenance programs in Lake and Border counties. I have the resolutions, number 12 here, it looks like, we got from Senator. And basically, Bob, can you brief us on this?
Basically, what Senator Niemeyer is requesting is that all communities in Lake County join him in trying to remove Lake County's the requirement of doing emissions testings on our vehicles.
Very good. Pleasure, council members.
So moved.
Second. And a second, any discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Volkman, does he have any stats to show that we're meeting the requirements for what the emissions were supposed to prove?
One of the things the reason that we're in that is because we're considered into the Chicago metro area, which is an entertainment area. Actually, the problem, our area for years has been much cleaner, and we've been below the standards, but because we're included in the Chicago metropolitan area, they've always maintained that requirement to us. By removing the cost of emissions testing for residents in Lake County, it basically lowers the cost of providing providing services. We no longer need to take your car into emissions. You wouldn't be inconvenienced by it, and we wouldn't have to support those costs through the BMV.
Plus, I could never figure that out anyway with all the trucks and everything that we have on the highways that come through the state of Indiana.
That's the other
contract. Never made sense to me.
You think of all the vehicles that come down 80, 94 or the toll road, they're not subject to these rules. And and they probably outnumber the vehicles moving on our streets on any given day.
Very good. There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Additional discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item, item J, award bid for Plum Creek Fire Station addition and renovation project.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
We had, this is for the addition to the Plum Creek Fire Station. The addition basically is to provide sleeping quarters and housing for firefighters to be permanently stationed and man that station. And because of development on that corner, it's slowed down response times to the residents and to the businesses in that vicinity of the town. And so this is to help expedite response within that quadrant of town. We had 4 bidders on the project, and my recommendation is to award the bid to Pangier Corporation of Gary in the total amount of $380,769.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Volkman, do we have any paperwork on that with us?
In regards to,
I don't see nothing in our package.
the bid calendar. What do you want to know, Tom?
Well, did you just read off the lowest bidder? Is that?
That was the lowest bidder. There were 4 bidders. I can read off all of them. The highest bidder was Gary Up Construction. They were at $442,978. Pangier Corporation was, no, that's the one that's got it. Let's see, what was the last one? Here, Gibson Lewis LLC, they were $486,000. Pangier, I gave you that number. And Van Ryan Design Build LLC of Schererville, $442,979. He was the second most bidder.
So Pangier Construction is the one that got the lowest bid.
They were the lowest, most responsive and responsible bidder.
Very good. Thank you for your explanation. Pleasure of the council on awarding this bid to Pangier Corp. for $380,769.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item, item K, request for variance of use to allow a temporary off-premise 200-foot length by 5-foot height marketing sign.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I believe the BZA passed 150 feet, did they not?
Yeah, the BZA's recommendation, they changed that request to 150 feet.
Do we take action on the 200 feet or the 150?
Actually, because this is a variance of use, the decision is yours. The recommendation from the BZA was to limit it to 150 feet. And I thought Mr. Weezer would be here tonight. I don't see him.
Okay, so it's 150-foot length.
That was the recommendation of the BZA. The request was for 200 feet. So you could adopt it with the provisions as placed on it by the BZA or recommendation, or you could approve it at the 200 feet.
And this basically is just a temporary marketing sign for the project that's going on.
It is, and has a temporary sign. The limits within our zoning ordinance for temporary sign is 28 days a month and 30 square feet.
So,
And they BZA gave them 12 months,
Yeah, they approved this.
or recommended 12 months, I should say.
so Mr. Tippy, would this be a misprint then on our paper where it says a favorable recommendation by BZA with conditions?
I think it's in the conditions I see now on the back page. It says, item 2 says condition on limited size to 150 feet by 5 feet. And then also in item 3 talks about the not to exceed 12 months. So I'm not quite sure. I guess we would just make a motion as to what our preference would be.
You do have the end decision-making authority, you have a favorable recommendation certification, so you've got some parameters from your BZA on what they thought you should consider. But if you deem it appropriate to change, modify, remand, you have all options in front of you. You're the decision maker.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the request for variance per the recommendations of the BZA.
There's been a recommendation from the BZA, the council to be here to make the recommendations part of this BZA case number 16-6-6.
Second.
And for the discussion, to clarify, that's 150 feet by 5 feet for a period not to exceed 12 months.
Very good. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next item is item L, consider request for variance of use to permit the conversion of the existing static off-premise billboard to an LED digital display. Comes to us as the BZA case number 16-6-7. Petitioner Lamar Advertising Company, location 2001 to 2011 US 41. Favorable recommendation by BZA with conditions 5-0. Mr. Wilkman?
This is basically to upgrade, Mr. Pettit's here from Lamar, and he could explain exactly what they're doing, but it's to take a static sign and to increase, to basically to improve that sign location and install an LED face on that sign. So I'm not anything further.
Mr. Pettit, would you like to brief us on this?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sean Pettit, Assistant Real Estate Manager, Lamar Outdoor Advertising, 1770 West 41st Avenue in Gary. As Mr. Volkman explained, we have an easement at this location, which is the Ileana, the medical facility just south of House Kobe. And we have secured an easement underneath our sign and would like to convert it. The request, I believe, is our petition was to go up to 34 feet in height. If we determine that the column cannot take the weight of the new digital, we would obviously rebuild the entire sign. But we would ask for a 35-foot height, back-to-back potential on the digital. But as we always do, we deploy one digital face at a time. We check the demand, the occupancy, and the sales, and then we would come back to Bob and Denise and just have to pull a building permit for the back face. Right now, we would be looking at what we call a right-hand read, which would be the south face for northbound traffic on US 41. That would be the first digital we put on.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Pettit, did you say it's the lot just south of House of Kobe?
Yes, in the medical facility.
Any questions for?
Yeah, I have one question. The double face sign, was that, it's nowhere in our paperwork, is that in the application that you?
That's what we had, yes, we had provided the BZA with a memo certificate, and again, the use variance is the particular section, I believe, as Mr. Austin can attest to, and crafting what the parameters are part of that use variance. The height, the size, this would be a 12 by 25, 300 square foot sign, 34 foot high, with the back-to-back component, again, at Lamar's discretion with staff allowing that.
So you're asking for one variance for the two sides, but you're gonna permit it twice, once for each side?
Right, we would permit it upon your approval, hopefully sometime this week, next week, and then back, depending on sales, 1 or 2 years. I can't dictate that, sales and market would dictate that.
Thank you.
Any more questions, Mr. Pettit?
Mr. President, just looking at a couple of the conditions, Mr. Pettit, the petitioner to coordinate with the town regarding any emergency notifications.
Yes, absolutely. We would be so kind, Mr. Conley, to, and Mr. Austin wants to do that. We would be willing to do a similar zoning commitment where we always give the town space available advertising. In the last use variance that we were granted, we agreed to a 2-week per quarter dedication to the town of Schererville. If that's your preference, We've been doing that with Bob on the one on the west side of US 41 north by Target Rentals. We've coordinated those dates between Bob and Diane, and I think the Parks Department does the artwork, don't they, Bob?
That's
Yeah, they
correct.
provide us the artwork. So if that's the pleasure of the council, Lamar has no objection to that.
Mr. Pettit, do we currently have anything, does Lamar currently have anything south of Route 30 on 41 with an agreement with us already with community sign?
No, we do not, Mr. President. The digital that we have is at Rosebud Antiques, which is technically unincorporated Lake County, on the west side of US 41 near Lake Central High School. So this one, which is south of 30, would be the first digital in the town of Schererville, south of 30.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions for Mr. Pettit at this time?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pettit.
President. Oh, I'm sorry here.
I was going to make the motion, go ahead.
I guess I'm curious, and it's curiosity for the sake of clarity. Sean has indicated it was a 35-foot or 34-foot in height. Your recommendation from the BZA is 27 feet. And then the priority item, and I appreciate hearing about using kind of the similar verbiage and provisions as we did before. That'll make it helpful for the staff and the coordination and all that. But a zoning commitment might be appropriate here so that you have some ability to understand and follow and enforce.
Okay, I agree. And Mr. Pettit, I know there was discussion about the overall height at the BZA meeting. What's the height of the existing sign?
Existing sign is 27 feet right now.
Okay, I think what happened is there's an error on our paperwork, because I know that it was mentioned that the height was going to be taller, and in fact, the BZA was happy that it was going to be taller because the digital would stay out of the eyesight of traffic.
That makes sense, it just didn't say that.
Yeah, no, that's a good catch. Yeah, that's,
And if I could, for the record, gentlemen and Mr. Austin, a memo dated June 6, 2016 was sent to the Board of Zoning Appeals. It references Lamar's requesting the variance of use to permit the sign to be located within the US 41 overlay district corridor. Lamar owns an easement to the existing static billboard currently located on the property. Lamar would propose a steel monopole sign with a 12 by 25 digital panel, similar to the existing sign at Boston Pizza, Aurelio, and east of Reeves Fence on US 31. The overall height of the Lamar sign on the property will increase from 27 feet overall to 35 feet overall due to the increased size of the panel. It will be a back-to-back LED digital display with a zero setback from the US 41 right-of-way because it was put up when we were white coat, and obviously the state's come through and widened US 41. So with all due respect, that was given to the BZA.
I thought so. I remember hearing.
If that was a part of the condition, Mr. Tippy and Bob, when they made that, if they were making that off the memo that Lamar provided, but that's the project scope, that is the essence of the use variance.
I think it's a typo.
I think it's a typo, because I think what they did is just hold the existing.
Okay.
Well, if there's a positive recommendation moving forward, we can make sure that it gets adjusted at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. President, I would like to make a motion to approve the request for variance and to include the additional requirements put on by the BZA. And for clarification on item number 3, that would be 2 weeks per quarter. We have an anniversary to promote this year, so hopefully you can get it up by then. Item number 5 states a double-sided outdoor advertising structure, and I would take exception limited to 35 feet in height.
And any type of zoning requirements.
And then also would like to request that a zoning agreement be brought to the council for approval.
Very good.
I second that.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, please saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Good. Okay. Next item. Consider request for variance of use to allow an off-premise sign in addition to the principal sign. This is a BZA case number 16-6-8. Petitioner is Express Employment Professionals, Inc. Location 132 to 136 West Lincoln Highway. This comes to us as a favor recommendation by BZA 4-1. Mr. Buck, where exactly is this?
Okay, this is in the Shoops building right at Austin and 30. This Business Express Employment actually occupies a suite in that building right next to the entrance to Shoop's that faces to the west. Their request is to be able to put what would become an off-premise sign on the east face of the building, because it really doesn't, you know, their face of their building actually faces to the north, which faces the other center, so visibility is certainly an issue, and this would allow the people coming down 30 to see their sign from both east and west directions. And Mr. Reed here represents the petitioner, and he's in the audience today if you have any questions.
Yeah, I guess clarification, all right, is there an existing sign there that has other tenants on that sign, or what
There is a
sign?
directory sign for the development, but they're, you know, the panels are very small because of the number of tenants. So this would, the sign proposal is to, you know, they're allowed a sign on the front of on their frontage, which would face to the west. This request is to put a, you know, companion sign, a mirror sign on the east face of the building, and, you know, facing right towards the dairy building.
On the actual,
On the building itself.
oh,
This is on premise.
okay. Off-premise sign, I thought it was gonna be,
Well, it's off premise in the way that it's not over their suite.
okay,
It's on the back side of the building.
So this is the backside of Shoop's then?
yeah.
Yeah, it's the back side of that building, but it's to the north of Shoes, the actual restaurant part.
That's the only other business in there, is Shoes and this business.
There's a State Farm agent on the east corner of the building.
Mr. Reed, are we explaining this correctly and understanding it correctly?
100%, yes.
All right, very good, thank you. All right, very good. Pleasure of council on BZA case number 16-6.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Next item, item N. Consider donation to South Lake County Community Services, Inc. for ridership from June 1st, 2015 through May 31st, 2016. $6,363 is what's being requested. And I believe we have a letter before us, which there was originally a typo, but it was corrected by our administrative assistant, Diane, for $6,363 as presented here. Pleasure of council.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries 5-0. Item O, consider grant of utility easement to NIPSCO for installation of a gas line 91st and Burr. Mr. Volkman?
Yes, at 91st and Burr, well, along 91st, NIPSCO is installing a new gas main. You've probably seen all the utility work that's going on out there. And originally, they had wanted to get an easement from the town by the dog park, but they didn't want to, you know, they were actually going inside the fence of the dog park. We didn't want to impede that property because we have future plans that would be an extension of a water main going to the west. We have a third connection with Indiana American Water just to the west or east of Clark that could come through there, and in the master plan of the water system, there'd be a pump station at that location, so I wouldn't encumber that property at all. So this is actually the old railroad right-of-way that belonged to the town. They've asked for a utility easement in there because there was no dedications in that area, so that they could turn their pipeline, and they're gonna head south from that point. So this is large enough for them to have a boring pit and extend their gas line over to the south, turn.
Okay, very good. Any else?
We checked off on the form of easement and the legal descriptions, all verified, is accurate.
Very good. Thank you. Pleasure of the council on item O, granting this utility to NIPSCO.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed. Motion carries 5-0. Next item P, consider petition for annexation to Town of Schererville, petitioner NIPSCO, Russell Atkins, location 91st and Burke. Mr. Volkman?
Similar to the parcel that we just did that would belong to the town, this is directly north of that. It actually houses the bike trail. There's a little segment there just north of 73rd that has the bike trail in it, is, you know, surrounded by Schererville, but wasn't in Schererville, so this is just kind of a cleanup thing. I asked NIPSCO if they would be a voluntary, petitioner to annex. Doesn't really impact them in any way. We take care of the trail at that point, so this just kind of clarifies what community, where it's at.
Mr. Volkman, it says 91st and Bird. Is that a typo?
That's, I'm sorry, it should be 73rd.
73rd. Pleasure of council members on this petition for annexation.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
And this is, Mr. Chairman, this is just an introduction of the annexation. This will be in front of you over the next few months as we go through the plan and annexation documentation. They will take care of that.
Item Q, consider acceptance of LPA consulting agreement between the town of Schererville and Butler, Fairman, Seaford for sign modernization. Mr. Volkman again.
Mr. Hewitt.
Mr. Hewitt.
This is the next step in securing federal funding through NERC and INDOT for our highway safety improvement project of our sign inventory and upgrade. Butler, Fairman, Seaford was the highest scoring engineering firm. We have submitted the INDOT LPA contract. This is the next step in securing these funds, and that is entering contract with Butler Fairman for the scope of the project as defined in the awards.
Okay, very good.
The next thing, this will go to INDOT for their review and approval, state and federal statute and law.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Jeff, so does every sign in the town get changed?
This would be for regulatory and information and warning signs. So this would basically be stops, speed limits, warning signs that say of a curve in the road ahead, and then our straightening signs as well. These would all be upgraded to the new reflectivity standards, as well as one of the new standards is that a street name sign cannot be all cap letters anymore. It must be upper or lowercase. So this would be to convert all of our signs to a compliant manner.
And didn't we do that about 12, 15 years ago?
No, we did not. These new retro reflectivity standards came into effect.
No, what I'm saying, Jeff, is didn't they have a different standard where they made us do it 12, 15 years ago? We had to do them all, and then now they're changing the standards again?
I don't believe so. I think we did do a lot of sign work about 12 years ago, but I think that was our own volition to go forward with. I don't think it was a mandatory action at that time.
Thanks, Jeff.
Very good.
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second, any additional discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, consider request to serve beer and wine at the 150th anniversary celebration at Rita Park on Friday, September 9th, and Saturday, September 10th, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I had a question about the 150th anniversary celebration. We were looking to put an ad in the water bills for this month, is that correct? Did we get an ad in the water bill?
Yes, sir.
So, and since my wife is the one who receives the bills in the house, when did we or should we expect to receive that?
It was actually, they've been received already. They were in probably the 8th or 9th.
Okay.
Yeah.
My water bill came this month in Saturday's mail.
Saturday's mail?
Yes.
Okay. So the word is out.
Yeah, we had that, they did.
It's our first official announcement
Right.
of the anniversary.
Yeah, the 150, the farmer's market, and there were three events that she had on there. One in the park, that's what it was. Fun day, Sunday fun days.
That's it.
Sunday Fun Day, 24th,
Yeah.
July 24th, okay.
And we also got a program, we've got a newsletter coming out next month, and it'll be featured in that as well. Monica's already working on that with Ross to get articles in about the 150.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next item, consider acceptance of donations totaling $12,011.85. Ms. Malinowski.
These are the donation acceptance as of today, July 13, 2016. Animal control donations, Kenneth Wasinski for $35, and Barry's donations for $15. So there would be a total there of $50. And then we had for the park donation, it says see attached list, which all of you should have for the farm to table event, which is pretty lengthy, but I will say that was for $11,961.85. So we have a grand total of donations for $12,011.85.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Approved and second, any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Next item T, acknowledge employees with 25 years of service. We had a program for many years that we recognized those employees who met the 25-year mark as an employee of the town, and then we got lax over that over the years. So we'd like to re-engage this program of recognition to these employees that have reached that milestone. A little letter I wrote here, basically, dear valued town of Schererville employee, congratulations on your years of service milestone with the town of Schererville. Clearly, reaching this milestone is a very special occasion for you. It is also a very special occasion for our community, since it's a testimony to your loyalty to the town of Schererville over the years. You are a valued member of our team, and your continued contributions are vital to the town of Schererville to continue to be successful in meeting our mission of providing town services. All the services we provide are made possible because of your individual efforts as well as the efforts of your team members. In addition, in appreciation for your 25+ years of service, we invite you to select a gift that reflects your service and dedication to the town of Schererville. We are pleased to present this award and gift to say thank you for the little things you do every day that add to the high quality of service to our residents. Again, thank you for your hard work and dedication. We look forward to your ongoing contributions and continued successful future together. Sincerely, the town of Schererville elected officials and administration. I'd like to read the names of the employees that met that years of service. We will start with our most senior employee on this list here, who recently retired. Police officer was 35 years of service, Rick Massey. 32 years of service in the House is Dave Dowling. 31 years, who also recently retired, is Matt Chanchesky. 31 years, police officer Peggy Calderero. Police officer Dan Smith, 28 years. Terry Minkin, 28 years. Joseph Gasorik, 28 years. Doug Ashley, 28 years. George Michaels, 28 years. William Howell, 28 years. Part-time employee Dale Rudd, 28 years. Tim Arbonitis, 27 years. John Novosich, 27 years. William Lawrence, 27 years. Lawrence Meisewick, 27 years. Karen Moffitt, she was part-time and full-time for 27 years. Denise Sulick, 26 years. And Brad Keene, 26 years. Each of these employees will be given a catalog that will allow them to pick their own gift for the recognition for these years of service there. So there's a motion by the council here to acknowledge these employees.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, can say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations to their milestone, town of Schererville. At this time, I'd like to open it to business from the floor. Any business from the floor? Any business from the floor?